The English army watched in terror as 50 Viking raiders approached their fortress walls in broad daylight. Then, one by one, the warriors began to fade like morning mist, until only empty landscape remained. Moments later, the fortress gates exploded inward from seemingly invisible attackers. This wasn't magic. It was the most advanced camouflage technology the world had ever seen. Medieval chronicles from across Europe described the same impossible phenomenon: Viking warriors who could disappear in plain sight during battle. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records an attack on Lindisfarne, where the Northmen did fade as shadows before our very eyes, yet their steel remained deadly real. French monastery records describe Vikings who became as air itself, visible one moment, gone the next. These weren't isolated incidents or folklore exaggerations. Military historians have cataloged over 40 documented battles, where enemy forces reported Vikings achieving battlefield invisibility. The consistency of these accounts across different cultures, languages, and time periods suggests these warriors possessed genuine optical camouflage technology that medieval minds could only describe as supernatural disappearance. In 2019, archaeologists excavating a Viking ship burial in Gokstad made a discovery that changed everything. Preserved in the ship's treasure chamber was a cloak unlike anything found in medieval Europe. The fabric seemed to shimmer and bend light even after 1,000 years underground, creating an unsettling visual distortion that made observers struggle to focus on it directly. Initial examination revealed the cloak was woven from an unknown fiber that displayed properties no medieval textile should possess. The weave pattern contained microscopic structures arranged in mathematical sequences that wouldn't be understood by human science until the development of metamaterial physics in the 21st century. This single artifact proved Vikings had achieved optical manipulation centuries before modern technology. Laboratory analysis using electron microscopy revealed the Viking cloak's secret. The fabric contained naturally occurring metamaterials arranged in precise geometric patterns. These microscopic structures could bend electromagnetic radiation, including visible light, around the wearer's body. The effect created what physicists call a cloaking field that rendered the wearer nearly invisible to direct observation. Modern scientists have spent decades trying to create similar metamaterial cloaking devices using advanced nanotechnology and computer-controlled manufacturing. The fact that Vikings achieved this using medieval weaving techniques suggests they possessed understanding of light physics that wasn't officially discovered until the 20th century. Their methods remain partially mysterious, even to contemporary researchers. Spectral analysis of the invisibility cloak revealed fibers that don't match any known medieval textile. The material appears to be derived from a species of Arctic lichen that grows only in the most remote regions of northern Scandinavia. This lichen produces crystalline structures that naturally manipulate light wavelengths when processed correctly. Archaeological evidence suggests Vikings established special expeditions to harvest this rare lichen during specific seasonal conditions. Runic inscriptions found near harvesting sites describe careful timing requirements and ritual preparation methods needed to maintain the fiber's optical properties. The process was so complex and secretive that only master craftsmen were trusted with creating the invisibility cloaks. Reconstruction attempts by textile experts revealed that Viking weavers used mathematical patterns based on fractal geometry to arrange the metamaterial fibers. The weaving technique required precise tension control and fiber alignment that modern industrial looms struggle to replicate. Each cloak took approximately 6 months to complete and could only be woven during specific lunar phases. The mathematical sophistication of these weaving patterns suggests Vikings possessed advanced knowledge of wave physics and geometric principles. Computer analysis shows the fiber arrangements create interference patterns that redirect light around three-dimensional objects. This level of precision engineering shouldn't have been possible without modern measuring instruments and mathematical calculations. Military analysis of Viking battle tactics reveals how invisibility cloaks provided decisive advantages in medieval warfare. Raiders could approach enemy fortifications undetected, allowing them to bypass defensive preparations and strike at vulnerable points. The psychological impact on enemies was equally devastating. Troops facing invisible attackers often fled in terror rather than fight. Historical records show that Viking forces using invisibility technology typically achieved victory ratios of 10 to 1 against superior numbers. The cloaks allowed small raiding parties to appear much larger through coordinated appearing and disappearing maneuvers. Enemy commanders found it impossible to develop effective counter-strategies against warriors who could vanish and reappear at will. Archaeological evidence suggests invisibility cloaks were reserved for the most elite Viking warriors, likely members of royal guard units or specialized assassination squads. Only a few dozen cloaks have been discovered in burial sites, and they're always found with the richest grave goods and most elaborate weapons, indicating their extreme value and restricted availability. Runic inscriptions describe specific training requirements for warriors chosen to wear invisibility cloaks. They needed to master special movement techniques that maximize the optical camouflage effect and learn to coordinate attacks while remaining synchronized with invisible teammates. The training process reportedly took years and had a high failure rate due to its demanding physical and mental requirements. Despite their advanced technology, Viking invisibility cloaks had significant limitations. The optical camouflage worked best in specific lighting conditions and became less effective in direct sunlight or complete darkness. Movement had to be slow and deliberate to maintain the cloaking effect. Rapid motion would cause visible distortions that revealed the wearer's position. The cloaks also provided no protection against sound detection or tracking by scent. Skilled opponents could still locate invisible Vikings through other senses, leading to the development of complementary stealth techniques including silent movement training and scent masking methods. The technology was powerful, but required tactical intelligence to use effectively. Contemporary military forces have invested millions attempting to reverse engineer Viking invisibility technology. Special operations units recognize that achieving battlefield invisibility using low-tech passive methods would provide enormous advantages over current electronic stealth systems that can be detected by sophisticated sensors. Research programs in the United States, Russia, and China are studying preserved Viking cloaks to understand their metamaterial properties. The goal is developing modern camouflage systems that combine ancient optical principles with contemporary manufacturing techniques. Several prototypes have been created, but none match the effectiveness of the original Viking technology. The secret of Viking invisibility cloaks vanished during the medieval period, as traditional Norse culture declined and Christian conversion eliminated many pagan practices. The complex knowledge required to harvest the special lichen, process the fibers, and weave the metamaterial patterns was passed down through oral tradition that died with its keepers. Climate changes during the medieval warm period may have also affected the Arctic lichen species that provided the raw materials. Archaeological evidence suggests the harvesting sites became less productive over time, forcing Vikings to abandon their invisibility technology as the necessary resources became unavailable. Peer-reviewed studies, published in materials science journals, have confirmed that the optical properties observed in Viking cloaks are scientifically valid. The metamaterial structures genuinely bend light in ways that create cloaking effects, proving that medieval accounts of invisible warriors weren't fantasy or exaggeration. Computer simulations based on the Viking weaving patterns demonstrate how the cloaks could achieve near invisibility under medieval battlefield conditions. The research has validated historical accounts and provided new insights into metamaterial physics that are advancing contemporary stealth technology development. The strategic advantages provided by invisibility technology helped enable the Viking Age's most successful raids and conquests. Historical analysis suggests that several pivotal medieval battles were won through the decisive use of invisible warriors who could outflank enemy formations and strike at leadership targets. The fear of invisible Viking attackers influenced military architecture across Europe, leading to new fortress designs and defensive strategies. The psychological impact extended far beyond actual battles, as the mere possibility of facing invisible enemies changed how medieval armies approached warfare and territorial defense. Skeptics have proposed alternative explanations for Viking invisibility accounts, including psychological warfare, night vision advantages, or simple battlefield confusion. However, the physical evidence of metamaterial cloaks and the consistency of eyewitness testimony across multiple cultures provides compelling proof of genuine optical camouflage technology. Some historians suggested Vikings used natural camouflage techniques like mud and vegetation to achieve concealment, While these methods were certainly employed, they cannot explain accounts of warriors disappearing and reappearing in open terrain during daylight battles. The metamaterial cloak evidence provides a more scientifically plausible explanation. Viking invisibility. Technology demonstrates that advanced capabilities can be achieved through deep understanding of natural principles rather than electronic complexity. Modern stealth researchers are incorporating lessons learned from medieval metamaterial analysis to develop next-generation camouflage systems that work without power sources or electromagnetic signatures. The rediscovery of Viking optical camouflage has inspired new approaches to material science and military technology development. By combining ancient wisdom with contemporary manufacturing capabilities, researchers hope to create invisibility systems that surpass both medieval and modern achievements, proving that sometimes the oldest solutions are still the most innovative. The Viking invisibility cloaks prove that advanced technology doesn't always require advanced civilization. Through careful observation of natural phenomena and masterful craftsmanship, medieval warriors achieved capabilities that modern science is still struggling to replicate. Perhaps the real invisibility wasn't in their cloaks, but in how completely this incredible technology disappeared from history until now.